Yo, hello, welcome back to my channel. Back again with me, ADEN DIAN SUNDARA, the most handsome online driver in the world. Okay, friends, this time I will talk about Jack the Ripper, a legendary killer who was never revealed. London in 1888. In the midst of the curling night fog, in the Whitechapel district, a mysterious man roamed around stalking his victims. In the dark alleys, he was known as Jack the Ripper. He is one of the most famous serial killers in history, whose identity remains a mystery to this day. The murders he committed were not ordinary crimes. His victims were found with horrific wounds, as if they were slaughtered by someone with knowledge of human anatomy. The media and public were shocked at the time. The police were criticized for failing to catch him, and theory after theory emerged. Today, we'll dig into who Jack the Ripper really was, how he operated, who his victims were, and theories about his identity. To understand the story of Jack the Ripper, we must look at the condition of London in the late 19th century. At that time, Whitechapel was a very slum-like district, filled with poverty, crime, and prostitution. London at that time was a rapidly growing city due to the Industrial Revolution, but it also meant a massive social gap. The poor struggled to survive, while crime happened on nearly every corner. London police at that time were very limited in investigative technology, without fingerprints or DNA like we have today. In this environment, Jack the Ripper emerged, to take advantage of the darkness and weak security to carry out his actions. Jack the Ripper, who murdered at least 5 women, known as the Canonical Five, although the number of his victims could be higher. Here, personally believe that Jack the Ripper killed more than just 5 people. These were just the ones identified by the police at the time. First, Marion Nichols. She was found on Bucks Road, and her body was covered in many cuts. Her throat was slashed twice, and sadly, there were no witnesses to this incident. The second victim was Annie Chapman. She was found behind a house on Hanbury Street. Her throat was slashed. Some of her internal organs were removed. Here, the police began to suspect this wasn't an ordinary murder, but rather a murder committed by someone who understood human anatomy. The third victim was Elizabeth Stride. She was found at Dutfield's yard, with a cut wound on her neck. Here, the police believed, while murdering Elizabeth, Jack the Ripper was interrupted, so he didn't get the chance to mutilate the victim. The fourth victim was Catherine Dowse. A few hours after the murder of Elizabeth Stride, Catherine's body was found in Mitry Square. Her face was mutilated and internal organs were missing. Here, the police found a mysterious note on the wall near the crime scene, which read, "The Jews are the men that will not be blamed for nothing." And to this day, the meaning of this message is still debated by those who believe in conspiracy theories. The fifth victim was Mary Jane Kelly. Now, the murder of Mary Jane Kelly was the most brutal murder ever committed. Or at that time, when Jack the Ripper was at his peak. The body of Mary, this poor woman, was found in a rented room in a severely mutilated condition, with her organs scattered around the room. The horrifying state of these victims made the Ripper stand out from other murders of that era. Jack the Ripper didn't just kill. He also played a psychological game with the police and the media. Several letters sent to news offices and the police were suspected to be from the killer. Now here, there were 3 letters believed to have been sent by Jack the Ripper to the police or media. Per Thomas Surratt, "Dear Boss." This was the first letter to mention the name Jack the Ripper, which eventually became the killer's nickname. The letter mocked the police and contained threats of further murders. Second, the Saucy Jackie postcard. a postcard that mentioned the murders of Elizabeth Stride and Catherine Dowse. Third, the From Hell letter. His letter was sent along with a piece of a human kidney. Of the 3 letters, not all experts believe that these letters were really written by Jack the Ripper. Some people here believe that these were hoaxes by journalists to boost newspaper sales at the time. Theories about Jack the Ripper's identity. For over 130 years, various theories have emerged about who Jack the Ripper really was. First, there was John Druitt from Montague. He was a lawyer. Second, there was Aaron Kosminski, an immigrant. Third, there was Dr. Francis Tumblety. Fourth, Prince Albert Victor. Of the 4 suspects named as Jack the Ripper, there is no concrete or strong evidence pointing to any of them being Jack the Ripper. So, in conclusion, more than 130 years have passed, but Jack the Ripper remains one of the greatest mysteries in the history of world crime. His identity has never been revealed to this day. But one thing is certain. Okay, maybe that's all for today's discussion. Peace be upon you, and may God's mercy and blessings be with you. See you next time.